123. Good luck summarizing that one because I feel like we talked about fucking everything.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 123. This is the final episode until the new year. So thank you all for this journey, for what we've done with Hacking Your Health. In this podcast, we talk a lot about a lot of different subjects, everything from how you should be eating 50,000 blueberries. I admit something that I've been skeptical on talking about for a long time, which, you'll find out in the podcast if you listen to. And so definitely full transparency there. And we get into what our goals are for 2024. Something you don't want to lose, don't want to miss, and definitely tune in. And we'll catch you all next year. But tune into this amazing podcast. It was a good one. See you all soon.
You know that there has had to have been some sacrifice, whether it's time or nutrition or whatever it is.
Recording of myself talking about having a relationship with my chest.
I'm Ben Canning.
I'm Dave Kennedy.
And this is Hacking Health Podcast. Yo, welcome back, everybody, to episode 123. I looked before we came on, so I knew where we were.
Wow, that's amazing.
Just did my homework while you were away at the bathroom. What's going on?
Happy holidays, everybody, and Merry Christmas and all of that good jazz. This would be, it would be the week after Christmas, since we're recording on the 20th.
Christmas. This will be released the day after Christmas. Christmas on a Monday, so this is the day after Christmas.
Day after Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day. You guys celebrate Boxing Day, or is that a UK thing?
I don't even know what that is.
The day after Christmas? No.
The day after Christmas is just the day after Christmas.
Well, it's Boxing Day over here, so we'll be celebrating. So happy Boxing Day to those of us.
What does that mean? You just box each other?
Yeah, it was fights. No, I mean, the only way that I can describe it is you just go to a different family member's house for food. It's like Christmas Day again in a different house. Is it just like all leftovers? Presents. Yeah, no, sometimes it's fresh food cooked. But...
Okay. Well, I'll come over and see.
Maybe I should Google to find out what Boxing Day is actually. I think it's actually called like St. Stephen's Day or somebody's day. Boxing Day, celebrated difference occurring on the second day of Christmas tide? What the fuck? St. Stephen's Day. I have no idea. Celebrate St. Stephen's, whatever. Anyway, what's going on? I have no idea
what's happening right now.
Essentially, me and you're going to have a boxing match on next Tuesday. That's all I heard.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Practice it for training. Actually, one of the things that Aaron was looking at possibly getting was like this, it almost looks like a dartboard, and it's a boxing thing that you box different things on it for the kids. And I was like, no one's ever going to use this. Trust me. Like,
except you. You just want to get the high score, and then that'll be done.
Well, yeah, I would absolutely get the high score, and then I would just then I would leave. So for sure.
Well, I mean, we caught up and recorded a podcast 2 days ago. What's going on since 2 days ago?
I must have slept. So I have one of those. What's the name of the sleep mattress beds that has the automatic inflate and deflate in it. And Erin likes her bed at like rock hard. Like it needs to be simulating basically a rock, like you're sleeping on. Okay. So, I mean, like break your back thing. And so when I was having all these sleep issues that I've since corrected since I was able to get the iron, I put mine as a rock as well. And I woke up this morning and I cannot move my head to like the left. I slept so bad on it that I actually had trouble rowing today at Orange Theory. I was just like, oh, this hurts so bad. Like I am so messed up right now.
Why did you decide to do that?
Well, because I was trying, like, I didn't know what was going on. So I was trying different, like maybe my sleep habits change and I need to, sleep on a harder bed versus like floating in the clouds. And, all of these things have been going through my head. And I was just like, you know what? So I woke up this morning and I was like in pain. Like I must have like crunched like over and had like my like arm behind my back, and it like my whole left side of my body right now is just in the worst amount of pain ever. So what that means is I need to go lift heavy right now.
So it's a no from the hard mattress then.
Yeah, it's definitely a no for the hard mattress for sure. And I think I need to get a different pillow too, because I've had that pillow for like 4 years, and my neck is just like it hates me right now. I might just go to the store and get a new pillow. We'll see. But yeah, well, I did get to hang out with Rob as well. I had a Cavs event, good. And Rob from the BC fam was there, and it was good to see him and catch up. I had some floor seats for the Cavs, and one of the things that I love doing is giving my tickets. Like I'll leave early. I'll give my tickets to, some in the nosebleed section, or a family that has like, a mother, father, or, or a daughter, kid or whatever. And there was this kid behind us, and Rob was leaving early because he had to drive back to Columbus. And there was this like kid, like 7 or 8 rows behind us. And was wearing the huge Cavs gold chain, all dressed in gold. And his dad was right next to him. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I gave him the seats, and the kid was like, what, really? And he's just jumping on the court, and everything. I was like, all right, this is awesome. So it's good to catch up with Rob, and good to see a Cavs game and everything else. But things have been good. Training is good.
I actually think there's an off-piste, self-organized Ohio meetup that I'm not invited to, happening early next year.
I'm not either.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's
don't even like us, man.
Without us. I don't know the full details, but I'm sure with the power of the internet we can find out.
Man, it's messed up that they're doing a BC get together without adding.
I actually think it's quite cool.
No, it is cool. But why did I get invited? Come on.
Well, I'm going to say I do think that you were tagged in the thing on Discord, so you probably just didn't see it. So we'll not fully blame everybody just now. Dave may have been invited.
I'm blaming everybody.
Fuck this place. But yeah, I think it's happening in the next couple of weeks. So there you go.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, very cool to see that. How have you been, dude?
How have I been since Monday? Good. I've been here. This is where I've been. I've just been.
There's a new addition to the family.
Yes, I got a kitten.
Got a kitten. Have you decided the name Thor yet, or
no? The kitten Thor is actually maybe a good one. The kitten remains unnamed. We cannot decide. Nobody seems to like Texas Ranger. I thought that was a good name, but apparently it's too much of a dog. Harper wants to name it Biscuit. I'm like, I'm not running about shouting Biscuit like a fucking dickhead. So
I think Biscuit's kind of cute.
Nah. But no, we got a kitten. So I mean, he's just chilling in the living room. That's pretty much the update since Monday. I kept it a surprise from Harper.
I saw you were watching food videos. So is the cut getting challenging?
I did. Well, I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, so I got a big green egg. Maybe that. Yeah, that's 2 birds. Yeah. I got a big green egg for my birthday. The barbecue, and it isn't. I mean, I can't imagine it's just like any other barbecue that you just fucking turn it on, you cook stuff. So I'm like doing the research, and I'm like, well, I have to do cardio anyway, and I have to watch these videos. So the two go hand in hand. So I watched 30 minutes worth of how to cook a steak on a big green egg. So yeah, that's going on as well. I haven't got it set up yet. I'll do that over the next couple of days, and then I will be creating my own food videos cooking epic steaks. And actually, I'll probably be coming at you in terms of some like smoking meats conversations, because I feel like I can do all of that shit now.
Heck yeah. Well, the green egg also gets, I think, to a very high temperature for searing as well, too. Yeah. So I never had a green egg, but I hear great things about it. I know a lot of folks that have it. So good food, but same concept. I mean, as anything else, indirect heat temperatures, things like that. It's awesome.
But I'm excited to actually like learn. And it's funny because Helmy and I spoke about whenever we went to London. So about maybe 2 or 3 months ago, he was talking, he just moved house and he was like thinking about getting a barbecue. I was looking at a big green egg, but I don't know if I'm going to fully commit because I've never made a barbecue before. And I was like, how can you be like almost 30 years old and never made a barbecue before? So he went and he got himself just like a regular gas barbecue. And I was talking to him, obviously we were out on Friday. He was like, I haven't even lit it yet. I was like, well, I'm getting the big green egg. He was fucking raging. I was like, it wasn't my choice. It was a present. It was a gift. Yeah. So like, I'm not trying to like one up you in the barbecue. So it arrived on Monday. And I mean, he's my only strong friend that lives in the country. So I had to phone him. I was like, look, I need a lift with something.
Really, really strong friend. Yeah.
Yes, a very strong friend. To be fair, it wasn't that heavy whenever we were lifting it, but it was just the fact that it's like, I think the box weighed 90 kilos, so about 200 pounds. And
yeah, very easy for you.
And obviously it's fucking ceramic, so I don't want to like drop it. So we moved it. It's now in the garage. Once I get it all set up, then I'll invite Helmy over and we'll cook a steak on it for sure.
When I was getting some new gym equipment, of course, not
like you to get new gym equipment. I thought you said that the gym was finished.
I was getting it into the back of my trailer.
I've seen it extending as well. Like we're moving past the
we're definitely past the point. Yeah. There's no I've already broken that word to Aaron, but getting it into the trailer, was one thing, and I almost died doing it. And then I called one of my buddies, Dom, over. I'm like, Dom, hey, I got two of these things in the trailer. Like it should be relatively easy to get out. It was not relatively easy to get
That
out.
was a lie. Dom had been
It was a lie.
right.
I felt so bad that I gave him a bottle of. I have a really nice bottle of bourbon called George T. Stagg, and I gave him like a really nice bottle of bourbon just because I've called him over like 30 times. He's like my de facto guy that comes over to help me move, and I feel so bad because it's just like literally the 30th time I've done that, so I've definitely violated the rules of friendship. But he's a very strong guy. He's like my strongest guy I know around here. So
yeah.
You know, it's a compliment.
It's important to have a person like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's important because sometimes some heavy shit needs moved.
And I will say, I definitely handle the hardest parts of it because I feel bad with it. I just need another strong person to be able to assist, right? And Travis has lately been helping out a lot too. So, you know, I just got to keep getting like more bodybuilding friends, you know, like
like ad on Craigslist looking for strong friends.
Looking for a best friend as a bodybuilder to help me move things.
It's funny though because like I always like if I phone Helmy right now and said I need to look for something I know he'd be here and he would do it. But
Yeah.
I think back to the time that whenever all of his gym equipment arrived. So
I remember this story.
Yes. Fucking hell. So it's like it arrived. He ordered it from like Philadelphia. So it came in.
Wasn't it all at once too? Like
it was the whole gym. So it was like a shipping container, right? And everything was planned out. We were going. It was like I was there. I was ready. It was like a couple of days late. I went back down the next day, and then this like 40-foot truck arrived with a shipping container in the back, and then two of us looked at it and went. Obviously, the back of the truck is like this height, and was like, we haven't established a way that we're going to get this off the back of the truck, so we had to not just like take it out of the shipping container, but we also had to take it out of the shipping container at like 6 foot in the air.
Yeah, to be able to and that with weight stacks and everything else. I mean, yeah. So
I think I have a lifetime of like.
You have earned the ability to call Helm anytime, especially just for a 200-pound green egg. So.
Yeah, for sure. But definitely important people to have around.
Yeah, that's so funny. Oh man, well, it's funny how I have a good friend. His name's Dave DeSimon, and I have called Dave over many times for some of the worst, horrible lifting things. Like we had this one. It was a refrigerator and had no handles on it, no way to lift it. And I had to get it from downstairs and like walk it around. And I had, we just basically carried this damn thing, and it was like 400 pounds. It had no way to hold on to it, and we had to like basically lift it over this gate because it was too big, wide to go through the gate. I almost died. He almost died, and ever since then, I'm probably not going to call you again for these type of situations. I think I've used the once in a lifetime opportunity here until you start calling me for something. So,
yeah, fair. I mean, it's definitely much easier to lift 400 pounds if it's attached to a bar than it being in a fridge with no handles. I'll say that.
Yes, it is. Speaking of lifting at the bars, that Vultra system I talked about last week from Beyond Power, I was they shot me a message saying, "Hey, appreciate speaking." They're adding me to a private group that talks about like features and stuff like that about it, which is kind of cool. But I did see that I didn't see before is they actually have a portable platform that you can order that you can travel with. So I can bring the Vultra with me with the power platform. And, if you think about it, you can do squats, RDLs.
I actually saw they had you can set it up like a belt squat. So they have like a belt attachment too. So that's pretty cool.
Dude, they have a lot of weird, cool things. And then thing was, even if you don't have a rack, I think you mentioned this last time, they have the bar set up on the side. So I'm actually thinking I have a spot. Of course.
No, don't do it.
I have a spot in the back area there that has plenty of room. That I may add
there is not plenty of room in that gym.
There's plenty of room, trust me. There's plenty of room.
Okay. You're the boss, whatever.
So we'll see how this all works, especially
I also need, and I put this, I can't remember where I said it. I definitely have said this to you within the past week. I need updated visuals of the gym because I need to write your training block. And at this point, I don't know. Without going back on the chat and looking at all the photos.
Two more pieces coming. So once that gets here, I have a reverse hyper, which I really don't know where that's going. And then
there's plenty of room.
There will be plenty of room. I haven't quite figured it out yet. But then I also got the Techno Gym. Is it a high flexion one? The reverse lat.
Yes.
Pull downs.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got the Techno Gym low row. That machine, if you ever have a chance to either get one, I get them from used gym equipment place. If you're ever interested in getting, gym equipment is obviously expensive. Commercial gym equipment is even more expensive, but you can find them a lot of times on like clearance, or a gym's gone out of business, and you can get them in really good condition for a relatively cheap price. And the place I go to is called fitnessequipmentempire.com. And those guys there will drop ship. I think, first of all, they guarantee the whole product. They'll fix anything that's broken off of it. And then they'll drop ship it to you via, a truck, and it has like a lifting gate and everything. And they'll drop it right to your house. I think it's like, for me, it's like $300 to $400 extra on top of it. But you can get used gym equipment that's in really good shape. And I got this Techno Gym, and I've been really liking pretty much all of Techno Gym's equipment. I really like their range of motion, but anything that you can do from a supported chest perspective when it comes to rows is going to be by far the most superior type of row that you could possibly do, because you're not using any of your other muscles. You're not using, your lower back. You're not using your chest. You're not using your body. And if you look at when you're trying to do a row on a row machine, let's say at a gym, you're heaving and hoeing back and forth, and using more body parts than your middle to upper back, especially around your lats. And with the Techno Gym pieces of equipment, it's a supported chest, so you have a big piece of padding that goes in your chest here, and it launch. And you can adjust the padding, but it lets you go all the way forward, and you can only use your lower back, or your middle back as you're going and doing this. So you're really getting that full range of motion on your lats. And I will tell you, I've had the biggest pumps and the most amount of failure, especially with those FN drop set pins. So I did run the rack with that, and it, like, I couldn't move my back for like 2 days. Like my lats were just fried. I don't ever get that doing back exercises before, right? So for me, it's just trying to find the best type of muscle movement that I can do to really hit those muscles as hard as I can, and obviously closer I can to failure. And man, that machine, that Techno Gym low row, is just one of the best back exercises I've ever done in my life.
Well, I'm just going to say this. I'm glad that you're doing all the, let's call it market research for the best pieces of gym equipment, so that when we open a gym, we know exactly what we're going to need to buy. Yeah. You've done the research ahead of time.
And I literally, if I don't like it, I move it out. Like I just got rid of my my pec deck. And if you're ever going to get a pec deck, what I'd recommend is getting one that has adjustable arms on it. Because for me, the pec deck came back way too far, so it was stretching my shoulders, and just was really uncomfortable and not a good position. And can tear your shoulder really easily that way. So I got one of the Life Fitness ones, again used, and it has a different adjustable arms on it that allow me to get basically right to where my full extended range is going to be for my chest, and really hit my pecs really hard. I did that yesterday, yesterday's full body push, and that pec deck hit definitely different than any of the ones I did. So I love that stuff. Yeah. So I definitely know what gym equipment to get.
Good. Right. This week, we're going to talk about what our goals are for next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I'm going to start with, let me go. I'm going to preface this. So I had this on the call on Monday with the team, because obviously it was the last Monday call with everybody until New Year. I basically got them to do a review of this year and then what their goals are for next year. And we went around everybody, and Adam made a good point. He doesn't set specific goals, he sets themes for the year. So I've been thinking about that versus actually setting specific goals. So I'll open the question to you. Number one, let's review the year. How was your 2023?
Listen, I mean, aside from breaking my ankle, I thought it was a pretty darn good year. I mean, my goals have definitely been hit. I never thought I'd hit a 600-pound deadlift. And I set my goal for Christmas time, was going to be New Year's was my goal to hit 600 pounds. And I did it a month early. It's been really good. I mean, not just goals in general, but, family goals. I feel like, I'm closer than I ever have been to my family, closer I've ever been to in my marriage, the strongest marriage I've ever had. We went through, it's interesting, I was talking to Rob about this a little bit, and he actually said, you should do a podcast on family, which I think is a good thing. How do you balance, what you're doing and everything with family? And, I would say, when you go through any type of thing in a marriage, just, marriage is always a work in progress. You're always, learning each other. You're always changing, and sometimes people change in a different direction, and that's when you see people, kind of split and go in different directions. But one thing that's been, I think, crazy for this year is that both my companies, plus I am and everything else have been just growing very well, leaps and bounds, and have had a lot of success with that. And I've also had a lot of really big successes and wins with my family. And one thing that I think I changed very differently this year than I ever have before is noticing the little things that I maybe didn't notice before. I'm not a detail oriented person. That's just not how I operate. I got a bigger picture in sight, and I don't necessarily look at the little things to get there. I look at more so, how do I actually get to that point? And this year I started really focusing on the little things. Sitting down with my daughter when she's doing orchestra and learning what she's doing. Understanding that if I go to Sheets, one of my wife's favorite things is the double fudge brownie thing from whatever. And I'm doing that sparingly. She's doing really good on the health kick, but just the little things that can add a little bit more to what you do. And I'd say this year my family has been the strongest it's ever been. And it's kind of interesting, when your young ones go through things at school, whether it's breaking up with a friend group that they've been friends with before for a long time, or fail a test, or they feel like things are just kind of falling apart for them. What I found is if they have a strong family at home, that stuff doesn't matter. It goes away and it's less impactful, and they recognize that they have a family at home to support it. So I would say for 2023, my goals as far as fitness and health, definitely hit those. Goals as far as family and business, definitely hit those. And it's all just the balance of those things that are the most important, right? And, so I was talking to Rob about this, how do I balance my time between all of those? And really it comes down to, well, what's the most important for you, right? And focus on those things, and don't focus on the things that aren't the most important. So for me, yes, I spend some time in the gym, but I get up super early before the kids are awake, and I'm done by the time they're good there, right? And what I've also been doing is spending less time in the gym. With my ability to kind of split my muscle groups up, I'm only spending an hour in the gym now versus an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes 3. So except Saturdays. Saturdays is still my day. But I only spend an hour in the gym every day, and that has been very successful for me too. And I think that's some of the most important things to kind of recognize.
Yeah, I think it's the one thing that I guess my biggest lesson will go with this year is I'll call it the lie that I had been telling myself about everything that I do is for Harper and for her future. And I think that the one big thing that I realized was she does not give two shits about the future. All she wants to do is build Legos or do a jigsaw or watch Moana for the 537th time this year. So actually that, while yes, it is important to look at the future and make sure that, that I can grow and succeed in business and stuff like that, the important stuff with her right now is just right now, because that's all that she knows. So definitely for me, it was a lesson within that. It's actually, it hit me quite hard. It was her birthday on Sunday. And the week before I was being winding her up for ages. Like, whose birthday is it next week? She's like, I'm going to be 4. And I was like, all right, okay. And she's like, I was like, you having a party? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, am I invited? And she went, will you have time? And I was like, ooh, like, I don't want her to ever think that especially not for a fucking birthday. So that was definitely a lesson for me in terms of like just actually taking a step back from everything, and everything else can wait, and spend the time with her while she is as small as she is, because that's definitely not going to last forever.
Yeah, it's not going to last forever. And it's amazing the times, I was gone probably 80% a year traveling in the very early stages of my kids' lives. Right. And I never want to do that again. These past few years, especially since COVID had hit, I have been so much more involved, and it's thank God I recognized it when I did, because you're never going to get these times back. And, the biggest emphasis I could say to people right now is that regardless of what stage of your life in, be there for your family and your kids. It's the most incredible time. I get up there and I watch my daughter. She had 2 violin solos in orchestra, and which is a huge, front chair, basically leading the orchestra. And, she's in 8th grade. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I have some amazing children that are doing some amazing things. my son, making JV team, my other son in baseball, and just seeing them grow and become into little men and women is the most rewarding thing. And to have, the stability in my job, career, and life to be able to give them, a different type of life is wonderful. And you just don't want to lose that. So, my goal for 2024, build an even stronger family, get even bigger from a muscle perspective, and spend 16 hours at the gym while also balancing family. Just kidding. And building even bigger companies.
700 deadlift.
700 deadlift. I don't know if I can get that by 2024. Dude, that 600 was so heavy. It was so heavy.
Just add 100 pounds and just lift it. Like, it's fine. That's all you need to do.
And here's actually something I wanted to discuss, because, and I didn't even run this by you, and I'm just going to do it. But something that I think
has turned into a dysfunctional relationship. We need to talk about it.
This is a big announcement. This is something that I went back and forth on whether I even say anything about something like this. And but I think it's important to talk about. So last year I started using steroids. And people are probably like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, before everybody freaks out, very well in a controlled fashion with my doctor, and very low dosages. And it was nandrolone decanate. And there's some really good studies out there, especially as aging men. Steroids really get a bad rap, but I want it to be clear with everybody and clean, because I'm very open and transparent about what I do and how I do things, and I think that's important. And I also do not care about being judged, because it's my own body and what I'm doing, and I'm doing it for the right reasons. I'm not abusing this. I'm not using extremely high dosages. My goal isn't to, be a bodybuilder, but it is to help augment my body as I get older, especially with things like joint pain and bone density, which is primarily why I've been using nandrolone. And I spoke to my doctor, and I spoke to not only my specialized doctor, but also my PCP on this, who, is not part of any of this, and agreed with the research and agreed with what I was doing. And again, very low dosages of this. And nandrolone decanate, also known as DECA, is one of those steroids that is very unique in nature, to where it has a lot of really good positive effects. For one, it's been used on children for years from a safety and efficacy perspective. Now, again, can be abused. But two, as I have gotten older, I've realized, hey, I will probably and substantially plateau, and I won't be able to hit certain areas that I want to do safely, within my time frame, and see how far I can push this. And this is one of the areas I decided to go and do. And so, obviously I talked to you, Ben, about this, and we discussed it and talked about it. But I wanted to read you something that Emil posted recently. This is actually the reason I decided to talk about it. But there is some really good studies out there talking about it. But here's one. Testosterone is an archetypal androgen anabolic steroid, AAS. So obviously I'm using testosterone. I talked about that. While it is a generous administration, is considered to be the gold standard for treatment of male hypogonadism, the benefits are not due to an intrinsic nature alone, but are due to the result of an interaction with the androgen receptor. As the management of hypogonadism continues to advance into the modern era, it would be preferable for modern androgenologists to have multiple tools at their disposal to influence AR activity. Nandrolone, or a 19-nortestin, is one of the compounds also used in testosterone replacement therapy. In the following review of literature, we examine the history, pharmacology, and clinical application of this medication. We also present the results of our novel pilot study examining the favorable effects of nandrolone to joint pain. Now, I'm just going to read the conclusion here, because this is from NIH. It's NIH subpublication PMC 7108994. Conclusion: for decades, testosterone has been the sole instrument in the andrologist's arsenal for the ongoing treatment and management of male hypogonadism. However, with increased interest and emerging research, there now exists more options than ever to help combat the sequelae of the devastating clinical condition. Nandrolone, in particular, a compelling medication that is has significant beneficial effects on joint pain in hypogonadal men, reducing the reliance on chronic pain medication, and reducing pain scores in responding men by more than half. That's a huge statement, more than half. Although further studies are required to replicate and characterize these findings on a larger scale, this is just a novel indication for a fascinating drug that appears to hold great promise for the future of clinical use. It is increasingly apparent that the field of modern androgenology is evolving rapidly and ever-expanding options to assist our patients in novel, exciting ways. So, again, just sharing what I do, and nandrolone decanate. So I've been using 200 milligrams per week of testosterone, which keeps my testosterone levels between the 700 to 1,000. So you look at most bodybuilders, they're going to be in the 1,800s to 2,000 plus ranges, not there. And I've been taking 200 milligrams a week of nandrolone. And I will tell you, since I started taking it, my joint pain, my ability to recover faster, and my ability, obviously, to put on muscle mass has definitely increased. So, and my blood work has gotten substantially better. So, those three things combined, I'm good. Just wanted to kind of share with everybody my journey, where I decided to go, and I'm good there. I'm not going to be progressing any further into anything else, but that was one of the areas that I thought was important to share this year, because for 2024, as I continue to grow, full transparency on how I'm doing it.
I think the biggest part of this is number one, the misinformation, but also number two, like the abuse. And I think that's why things have such a bad rap across the board. And I remember very specifically, whenever I work with Callum, he works with like top level like bodybuilders, like people who compete in the Olympia. So ins and outs of all different types of everything that you need to know. Callum has the information. And one of the biggest things that I remember either listening to him on a podcast or whether it was a reel on Instagram or whatever else, is as to what he was trying to do was almost like limiting the negative side effects by spreading the doses of more compounds versus just taking more of the one compound. So it used to be very much like, okay, I just need to take more testosterone, and you're maxing that out. And that's where the abuse level comes in. Whereas what he usually does is, or what he looks at is like, what different compounds can I take and take that at a lower dose? So you're getting benefits from it, but you're not taking it to the point where you're getting the negative side effects. And I think as more and more research comes out, as you said, if you can send me that link, it means I can put it in the show notes as well. But more and more research of benefits beyond, okay, yes, there is a benefit that you are going to add muscle mass, but what are the longevity benefits of these other things as well?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between use and misuse, right? Yeah. And, for me, the low dosages alone have really helped out a lot with my ability. And I spread it over 3 days, so I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And again, it's prescribed. My dosages are monitored. My health is monitored from a blood work perspective. And I am not advocating anybody else go and do this. Like, this is my own personal decision, and this is one that I did a lot of research on. I looked at where I was at and looked at what I wanted to do. And I knew that this would be a nice thing that I could sustain for a long term. I mean, you can run this for the rest of your life. It's not like running, high dosages cycles where you have to come off of it for a long period of time and things to that effect. The benefits of it, from a bone density perspective, lubrication of joints, overall strength, all of those things are positives. And again, from a low dosage perspective, you're not running into any impact from a liver, kidney perspective, with liver specifically, when running this. So, again, I'm a fully transparent person, and I always try to be. And before I even, I decided, I kind of contemplated whether or not I should just say anything when I first started. But, I figured, am I going to be doing this long term? Is it going to have any decent effects on me? Is it even worth it? And I can honestly say I've definitely gotten a lot better, and continue to go up in strength because of it. Now, people also have that taboo thing of, well, if you're not natural, which, I'm not natural at this point, right? That you cheated along the way to get there. And let me tell you, regardless of what that is, if you're taking steroids or not taking steroids, the grind and the amount of effort and work that you have to do to get to a certain point and the right amount of eating and calorie surpluses and deficits, that doesn't change. Like, it's not like just one day you take something, all of a sudden you're massively huge. I mean, this has been 3.5 fucking years of blood, sweat, and tears. And I just decided last year, mid-year to try something a little bit different to help me out and, experiment with things as I do, hacking your health and trying to figure things out. So, it was a big decision, and one that I, chatted with my wife and everybody, and, talked through it and went through the medical research. I spent weeks and months doing research, talking to my doctors, and it's not, the thing is, when you think of steroids, you think of the abuse, and you think of the bodybuilding, you think of the people dying when they're 40 or 50 years old. That's not what this is. That's not what this is at all. This is a way
the opposite. It's how can we
actually, exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a way for me to stay alive longer based on the medical research that we have today. And I'm okay cheating to live longer. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good to
Yeah.
cheat
Well,
to
I
live
think
longer.
my argument in the cheating thing is you're not in a competitive sport that doesn't
No.
allow it. Like if you were,
Right.
if you played fucking, I don't know, some sort of sport that they were testing. If you were a cyclist, you were doing the Tour de France, then yes, okay, maybe a different story. Don't necessarily know if you're built to do the Tour de France now, but you get what I'm saying. If it was a sport that was tested, then yes, that's cheating. But what are you cheating at
I'm
here?
not
Because there's
professional
no.
powerlifting. I'm not doing competitions or meets. I'm not doing anything that it puts it in an unfair advantage. And again, I don't care if I'm judged for trying to live longer and trying to live stronger and healthier. I get shit for ego lifting apparently when I'm trying to PR. So I'm cool with whatever. But this is for me, and something that fit me very well, fit what I was trying to do, fit my lifestyle and longevity purposes, and until things change, if my lipids start changing, we're gonna figure out what's going on, right? But they're not. My blood work is great. It's the best I've ever had. The blood work I had that time around, like a few weeks ago, literally couldn't have been any better. Like I have a bio age of like 32 years old. I'm going back in age, so I'm good with that. So let's keep it going.
I think that the sort of, I guess, close out in that point is because we monitor everything so closely. If anything's off, we'll notice it like almost instantly.
Yep.
Whether it's in terms of check-in sheet, which you will submit yours today.
I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've already done mine. I've already done mine.
I better see yours.
Yeah, I've already done mine. But because you submit all of that in the check-in sheet, I haven't submitted it yet, but I've completed it.
You said you did it, but it's not. I didn't see it on my check-in side.
I can't submit it yet because the day is not over.
Okay, but you made it sound like that I was slacking here, and I haven't seen it yet.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Just making sure.
But because we have the check-in sheet, we have the data, and we check everything, we monitor everything because you get regular blood work done. Like if something's off, we can just change it and fix it straight away. So we monitor everything so closely.
That's right. And I mean, like I said, obviously big decision here, but that's my goal for 2024 is to lock in and really try a hard cut. So, this is going to be the hardest cut. We're wrapping it up, but it's going to be one of the hardest cuts I think I've ever tried before.
I might do it with you.
I mean,
because I'll already be cutting, but because I don't ever want to be the coach that would expect you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. I can't be like,
you could do it.
This is going to suck so bad. It's going to be brutal. You're going to hate it. You're going to be miserable. And me be like, enjoy. Like, I'm just going to fucking enjoy it. Like, I think it'd be a good challenge. I was actually talking about it with Kyle today, and he was like, that sounds awful. I was like, yes, it does sound awful because it probably is.
It's going to be awful. Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see where we're at a couple of weeks out from Phoenix, and I'll see whether I need to pull a pin on things.
Yeah.
Blood work. I got my blood work done today. It's funny. So the lady comes out to the house and she's like, wasn't that long ago that I was here? Like, you're getting your bloods done again? I was like, I mean, it was 3 months ago. Thanks for noticing. But yeah, I'm getting it done again. So I had a pretty interesting conversation with her. And obviously, she does it all the time. So it will be interesting to see. I would imagine today was the last day that they would actually accept blood. So hopefully that means I'll have it results before Christmas, because I'd imagine people take time off. So we'll see, and we can have a look at things and see where we're at and see if anything needs adjusted coming into the new year.
It's funny. Like, I know the lady, her name's Ruth, where I go get blood work done. I know all the kids' names. I know her plans for Christmas. I got her a little gift, because I go there so often. It's the same lady every time. I've been going for 3 years, like every quarter, that clockwork. So I've gotten really familiar with her as well too. So, it's awesome, to have the visibility into, how you're doing, what your body's doing, and what you can do to improve. Right. And, one of the ones that I always look at, one of my most important barometers for osteosclerosis is ApoB. And, keeping ApoB under 60 is imperative. And obviously your LDL, HDL cholesterol ratios. But, I look back at my ApoB when I first started 3.5 years ago, and it was like 87, and it's like 39 right now. So, we have the ability to change things. And there's actually a podcast that I just got released this week on Huberman, which we haven't talked about.
No, we haven't. Unless a couple of weeks ago we talked about how jacked he was with his shirt off. But aside from that, we haven't talked about his podcast.
Well, his podcast, he had a really good one. that I listened to, and I'd heavily recommend listening to it too, Ben. There's some really good stuff in there, but it was from a doctor that specialized in the impact of fructose, i.e. sugars, in our bodies, and how the introduction of added sugars and heavily processed foods has really effed up our entire ecosystem. And he did a 20-minute breakdown of calories in versus calories out, and I learned so much during that. So what he was talking about was, if I ate a steak, okay, and the steak had like 1,800 calories in it, you'd really only be processing like 800 calories of it.
Okay.
Like your body's only going to process around 800 calories of that, which is crazy to think about, right? Because of how your microbiome will steal your bacteria in your stomach will actually steal calories. So when you eat an almond, let's just say it's 40 calories of an almond, you're really only getting 20 calories of that, or 25, because your gut biome is actually stealing the fiber, the dietary fiber, to use for its own feeding. And, you know, it went through the kind of like the thermogenic process, and he really equates the obesity issue that we see based on the studies, based on all the added sugars and the addiction to sugars. It hits all the same receptors as cocaine, as, drugs, things like that. And it creates this whole ecosystem of people being addicted to sugars, and our bodies become addicted. They exploited the weakness in our biology to really produce cheap, horrible food that keeps us obese and doesn't fill us,
it's literally designed that way. It's literally
designed to keep us fat.
Yeah.
And there were some things he talked about though, like, and I was joking about the blueberries recently on Twitter, but he even talked about how he just eats blueberries all day long. He's like, am I not allowed to eat blueberries anymore? And the doctor's like, actually, no, because it's wrapped in with dietary fibers and other things. It's actually phenomenal for your body to use as energy. But when you're eating sugar alone, that's the issue that happens. And it actually shuts off certain processes in our bodies to help stunt dying and cancer and things like that. It just by having sugar alone actually F's up our system so much that it can't repair DNA, damaged DNA the way that it should. And it causes a lot of the comorbidities that we're seeing today around obviously obesity, but also cancer, dying of age, cardiovascular disease, all related to how much sugar we're pumping into our bodies in the processed food. So I'm actually making a conscious effort to eat much less sugar. And I'm not a big sugar guy in the first place, but I switched off of my bagel. So I'm not eating a bagel in the morning anymore. And I switched to, I'm not eating a bagel anymore. Unless it's whole grain, no sugar added. But I switched to
I don't think
Kodiak now makes, hey, hang on. Kodiak now makes oatmeal. So it's per 1 cup, might have been half a cup. I think it's half a cup. Per half a cup, 170 calories, 10 grams of protein.
Nice.
That's really good for oatmeal. So, so I had that today.
Cooked or uncooked?
I mean, it's definitely cooked. It's cooked. Yeah, but in the microwave because it has to be hot. Because oatmeal cannot be.
You can't eat
cold.
from the microwave, or your head falls off.
Doctor talked about that. If you used uncooked oatmeal, it actually increases your chances of losing your
No,
gains.
you can't use a microwave unless you have a tinfoil hat on. Your head will fall off. Don't be doing that.
No, what's interesting about that one though was so I had 1 cup of oatmeal, so it was like 200 or 300 calories with 20 grams of protein. I had I've been using the Momentum shake, the Momentum shake, which has like NAD, a lot of other things, but it also has 20 grams of protein. So I had 40 grams of protein, plus I did 2 scoops of protein on top of it, so it's 50. So I had 50, 60, 70, 80. I had 90 grams of protein and 60 grams of carbs for my breakfast, and it was only like 700 calories or something like that.
But bro, you generally digest 20 grams of protein per sitting.
Yes, and raspberry ketones are the key to losing weight as well.
I will go back to the blueberries comment. I am a big fan of blueberries. There has been blueberries on the background of my phone.
I do remember this.
Yes. It's been like, honestly, for about 7 years. And I took that picture. They are literally blueberries that I ate.
So on the blueberries, he was talking about, the doctor was saying how good that is for you. Anything berries is good. Bananas less so. Not a good combination of fiber to carbohydrates or sugar or fructose. But what he was saying was, I guess he was getting an MRI done, a full body MRI, just to see how healthy he was.
See how jacked he was.
That too. And I guess the doctor's like, hey, do you eat a ton of blueberries? And he's like, that's a strange question to ask, but yes, I do. And I'm like, he's like, why? He's like, well, when we do scans of people that eat a ton of blueberries, like excessive amounts of blueberries, their stomach glows white, like an aura of magnesium.
Right.
And he's like, I could tell you eat a lot of blueberries because your entire stomach is white. It's glowing with magnesium essentially. So your whole stomach looks.
How many blueberries do you need to eat? Because I eat quite a lot of blueberries.
So, so I actually tweeted at Huber. I'm like, hey, how many? I had a whole shopping cart full of like 15 things of blueberries. How many do I need to eat in order to get?
I don't want to know how many grams. I need to know how many specific blueberries in a number that I need to eat. Like
400,000 a day.
So we're all eating more blueberries then.
I had blueberries today about oatmeal.
We all know. I don't.
Obviously, they're a powerful antioxidant. They have a lot of.
No, number one, they're delicious.
I mean, they are delicious. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, blueberries are delicious.
I will also say a blueberry muffin and this is a completely different conversation for a different time, but a blueberry muffin is an underrated flavor of muffin. But anyway, carry on. Yes, antioxidants.
Definitely from a powerful antioxidant perspective, a lot of great vitamins and minerals. Very good to go, to be able to do all that. So it was something that I definitely, I learned a lot from that podcast, which I thought was really good.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So more blueberry. Send me the link to the podcast. I will listen to it.
Yes. Less fructose, less just straight up fructose, and being more so inclined to couple that with dietary fibers and just general fiber in general. I usually add a scoop of fiber to my protein shake as I'm going and eating it or drinking it. Usually helps a lot. And I found that it's a lot of protein powder, but my protein shake is like 2 scoops of protein, so 50 grams. The 2 scoops of momentum. I think it's momentous or momentum. I can't remember which one it was.
I think it's momentum.
Momentum has got like NAD, fish oils, and
momentum. Yeah. Live better, longer.
2 scoops of that, so it's 4 scoops of protein. Then I do a scoop of creatine, and then I do the athletic greens on top of it. So it's like
you're like the guy for the red call one. He goes, and while you weren't looking, I put another scoop of protein in. That should be your next. That should be the next short that you make. You make in your protein.
Yeah.
Your protein.
Yeah, it's like literally like 90% powder, 10% water. But it goes down. It actually does not taste that bad. And and one thing I wanted to bring up that reminded me of last week's podcast that I think is really important to remember. You know how I can tell if somebody has still has a massive relationship with food? So let me ask you a question, Ben. Do you care what protein you drink? I mean, like, are you like obsessed with the flavors or things like that? I mean, it can't taste horrible, but
no, I'm not obsessed with the flavors. No.
So for me, when I first started on this, I was trying new protein things. Like, it's got to be cookie dough. It's got to be sprinkles and raspberry. It's got to be all these flavors, right? And it's got to taste really good. And it's got to be amazing. And I want to get I want it to be like a sundae when I go and eat it, because I gotta get that sweet tooth out, right? Mm-hmm. And I haven't switched my protein or my pre-workout or really anything for probably 2 years.
I actually give you a shout out today in my daily vlog because I was getting ready to go to the gym, and I was making my pre-workout and my intra, and I was using the Alpha Lion Superhuman Pre. I was like, this actually is Dave's favorite. I don't know how I came up with it. How I came up, I was talking to myself to the camera. But whenever I went back to look at the video of you doing the deadlift that you first sent me from like literally September 2020, one of the pictures just before that was the Alpha Lion Superhuman. So that's literally over 3 years ago. So there you go.
Yeah. And I stopped caring about the flavors or the taste or those types of things. Don't get me wrong, it can't be horrible. I don't want to dread it. But if it's okay and it's not killing me, as I'm like, I don't care. So when I mix all that stuff, it's not the greatest tasting, but it's not bad. So I know what it's doing for me. So, my relationship with food is completely broken. Like when I go to the store, like I don't need to go and get things that are going to satisfy my palate. I need to get things that are going to satisfy my need for my macros. And I will get things that are nice, like
Skyline chili
the other day. I'm like
Skyline
okay,
chili
so
is not good for your macros.
It is good for macros. Why not? That's carbs, fats, and proteins, and it's like
perfectly
30 grams of
balanced,
protein.
complete meal.
Bro, it's a full balance. That is. Humor me even said scallion chili is probably the most nutrient dense, amazing food that you can. He obviously did not say that. I'm just making that up. But it's again, when I go to the store, like if you were to look at my shopping cart, it's got. I start off with the beginning section, which is the fruits and vegetables. So I always have fruits and vegetables in there. So yesterday I had a whole huge stack of blueberries because now I'm copying Huberman, like 7,000 blueberries. My whole shopping cart was blueberries, basically. Went and got some bananas because the kids like bananas. Got a fruit mixture plate. I got some broccoli, some asparagus, some Brussels sprouts. And then I went to the meat section and I got chicken breasts, ground beef. I went 85%, 85% lean, 15% fat. I like a little bit of fat in there for the flavoring. Got a couple steaks. It's got to be for the burgers. When you do smash burgers, you got to have some fat in there. Can't do the super lean 95-10. Doesn't taste that good. Anyways, went and got some of the oatmeal. So the protein oatmeal. I then went through a couple other places. Got some. Oh, also, I've heard a lot of folks talking. There was a podcast that, not a podcast, a video that Nipper did with, man, what's his name? A super famous dude. You know him. Let me see. Nipper. It'll be here in just a second. Overrated. Who's this with? Hang on a second. Okay, so I didn't want it to go through here. So in this video, 19 topics with Renaissance. Oh, Dr. Mike Astratel.
That's Mike Astratel that I sent you the video. He was in the gym that we were in Pittsburgh. Anyway, that's who I sent you the video of the real brutal cut that we're going to do.
I watch his videos all the time. He's great. And they said diet soda, overrated or underrated? And they said underrated because it is a delicious snack for you. And they have many clinical studies showing that you do lose weight on diet sodas. And unless you drink like 70 cans of soda a day, it's doing no harm to you whatsoever. Like it's not an issue. So, so diet sodas, I picked up, some Coke Zeros and some Mountain Dew Zeros. I love diet soda. I'll have one a day. And that's my kind of like my little sweet thing. But my whole plate is basically just designed to feed my macronutrients. And I don't have that relationship anymore with food that I used to have.
Well, I'm going to say this, and this will lead on from our conversation about the carnivore diet from last week's podcast. I'm not going to do the carnivore diet, but what I'm going to do is for all of January, only consume whole foods. I think that's a good compromise. Only consume whole foods. No protein supplements, no ultra processed shit. Only consume whole foods and see where we're at. We'll do that as a test, and obviously, as I've mentioned, I'm doing daily vlogs, so I'll be able to talk about the story as we go through it as well.
Yep. It's I'm in. I mean, honestly, I think when I start my cut, it should be 100% whole foods for that cut. No minus whey protein. But
I'm not going to have whey protein. I'm going to have 100% whole foods. And I would say, yes, do not try and do it on 4,000 calories because...
Well, I'll do whey isolate, but I think it'll be great to do a non-dairy / whole foods type of situation where like you just reduce inflammation, sugars, just while I do my cut, just to see how I feel on that cut, because that'd be interesting.
Well, I'm going to plan it out actually this time because I realized a lot of times I don't plan things and I just say them, but I'm going to plan it out and make sure that
I'll get you a video of my gym. So,
yes, I need a video.
Because it's a completely different gym than when you were here last time.
Right. So let's wrap it up because I don't think we actually talked about our goals. We sort of touched on it here and there. So goals for next year for you.
To go through the toughest cut I've ever gone in my life.
Easy. That'll be easy.
To be very locked in to my training goals. I feel like I need to kind of reprioritize like just my effort in the gym. I think like what happened this year with me is like I would spend so much time deadlifting. Like I would spend like an hour deadlifting, like, and then I'd spend another 2 hours burning out the muscles. Right. I want to do more intense workouts this year to see how that impacts my training. So I might actually take a little bit of a lesser focus on PRing on deadlifts and more so just going through the sets as fast as I can. Because I'd have like 20-minute pauses in between because I'm trying to, 1 rep max or, go as high as I can. So I'll do, 505 for 5, then I'll do 525 for 5, and then I'll do 545 for 5, but I won't give myself a lot of time in between there. to go and do that. So I think a reprioritization on my effort in the gym and going more to failure sooner. So less time in the gym, those types of things are going to be some of my priorities. And then obviously just being an amazing father, husband, business owner, friend, prioritizing those as the most important, because, I can get consumed with day to day and just being a better person. So how about you? Oh, last thing is hiring a program director for my school initiatives. That is my big thing for next year, is really kicking off how to impact inner city kids that don't have the opportunity that I got very fortunate and lucky with. So we announced the Bedford High School partnership. But I want to hire a program director to be able to manage that and to get more kids into that program, so that we can have interns at Trusted Sec that are coming from inner city schools that don't have to go to college and get well-paying jobs. So those are my goals.
Nice, cool. Well, I'm going to go with themes, and I spoke a little bit back and forward with Matt about this the other day, and in the nature of us generally doing the same sort of thing. His words were he wants to be everywhere. And he took that as everywhere on social media. So in terms of growing business, he's going to go full send on content. I sort of have taken it more literally, that I actually want to be everywhere. So as we talked about before, I want to be at more events. I want to speak at more events. I want to be the person that people feel like they can't avoid, whether it's at an event, online, on a podcast, on some sort of social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, and just go full send, so that we can build what we're doing here. And then obviously with the ultimate goal of helping more people. So I'm going to go full send on that. And I'm going to reprioritize myself, because one thing I've realized is I feel like I'm moving the needle a little bit more towards the people I'm trying to help come the other direction. So whenever I've spoken a couple of times about people I help and people I work with, I almost describe myself now, except for the fact that I'm not a hacker or don't work in information security. So I'm I really need to reprioritize that, because I'm starting to put myself further and further down the priority list. So I'm going to do that for myself.
Absolutely. Love it. Well, thank you all for an amazing podcast this week.
And an amazing year. This is the final one of the. Thank you all for an amazing year.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody, to the whole Hacking Your Health crew. Thanks you for living this journey with us and ourselves, and as we learn new things about ourselves and what we do, and being supportive of one another. Thank you all very much. We love this community. Such a great group of folks. So catch you all next year.
Dave, thank you for consistently showing up and doing this podcast with me on a weekly basis.
You too, man. You too.
Thank you.
You too. So yeah, of course. I love it. Good to hang out with you. So happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy whatever you celebrate. If it's just spending time with family around this time frame.
Just happy Tuesday. Just whatever's going on. Just happy
day.
Yeah.
Happy days. Sunday, Monday. Happy days. All right. Thanks, everybody. Catch y'all next year.
See you next year. That's such a bad joke. See you next year.